Hey guys, it's Larry Greenberg, and by now I'm sure you're aware that the CDMA version of the iPhone 4 has just been announced for Verizon Wireless. It will be available starting on February 10th, 2011 at a price of $199.99 for the 16 gigabyte version and $299.99 for the 32 gigabyte version. Verizon says it will be available for both new and existing customers who sign a 2-year agreement. Most everything about the phone is exactly the same as the AT&T version. The most notable differences are the Verizon version has a mobile hotspot feature similar to the Evo on Sprint. This means that up to 5 users can share the iPhone 4's internet connection to get online. However, the Verizon version, like all CDMA phones, does not allow for simultaneous use of voice and data. So if you're on the phone, you will not be able to utilize your internet connection. I can only assume that that means when you're using the hotspot, you won't be able to receive calls either. That is how the Sprint Evo works, and I'm assuming this version is going to be the same. But that's not really why I made this video. Most alarming out of the release of the iPhone 4 for Verizon is this photograph from Engadget. And if you look here closely, you can see that the buttons on the Verizon version, which is on the top, versus the buttons on the AT&T version on the bottom, do not line up. They're simply not in the same position. Now, the iPhone 4 for Verizon does have a redesigned antenna, and I can only assume that because of that, the buttons had to be moved around. You notice on the Verizon version, there's a black line here. On the AT&T version, there's not. What does this mean? Simply put, most cases for the iPhone 4 that are available now will not work with the Verizon version. This is a nightmare for both users and manufacturers, as well as retail stores. Case companies are now going to have to redesign and recreate all new versions of their cases to work with the Verizon iPhone 4 version. In addition to that, stores are going to have to stock both varieties and make sure they're on top of keeping consumers informed as to which cases they buy. And as far as end users go, now we're going to have to go around and, if we have the iPhone 4, we're looking in one store, they may not have cases for the Verizon version. We'll have to go to another store to look for ones at AT&T. Some stores may only choose to carry one. It's just going to create an overall mess for not only the end user, the manufacturers, but all these retail stores as well that are again going to have to keep dual inventories. So it looks like it is true. At first I thought maybe, it was just the camera angle of this picture, but, rumors seem to be true that the buttons don't indeed line up, and this is going to create a mess. I mean, the Apple bumper case, which is probably the most well-known case for the iPhone 4, that one simply will not work. The buttons need to be lined up, precisely for them to match up with the device. So stay tuned. We'll see when the iPhone 4 for Verizon is actually released, if this turns out to be a reality, but it indeed looks like it is.